All right. Welcome to the 12th Inner Sports Coaches Show, which we haven't done in forever. I think I introduced it one time, did it one time, and then never did it again. It is what it is. But anyway, we're joined by the youngest coach in the region. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, that's a good thing, right? Coach Levi
Yeah.
Rogers from I about said the wrong team. My bad. Lincoln County. Lincoln County. So,
Yeah, I coach at Lincoln County, but I don't know if I'm the youngest or not. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
hey, what? So is Coach Hatter? Is he younger than you?
Yeah, Will is younger than me, so I can't
Ah,
be the
well,
youngest one.
coaching football age you quick too. Oh, so
Yes, yes, it does.
all right, Coach. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, and we appreciate it, man. You got a big week coming up, so we'll talk about the Death Valley Bowl here shortly. But let's jump into your team this year. You know, we've kind of talked about. I don't know if we ever talked about your past in football and what you've done as far as your career goes. But let's talk about this year's team. You lost a lot of good players last year, man. Had a great year last year. What's this year's team look like? What's the expectations? Tell us about Lincoln County football.
Yeah, there's a lot of new faces out there. We graduated 14, 15 guys, and most of them played a lot of minutes last year. So a lot of new faces going to be out there for us. Don't have a whole lot of returners. So like I said, we just need to get live reps and see what we're like. We went out there first scrimmage against what I feel like is a pretty good Madison Southern team of some older guys out there, and we competed well at points. But I mean, you could see some points where we're just not where we need to be right now too. But we're taking the approach, get better every single day. We got a long way to go in some spots, but we've had some guys really come on too. So I'm excited to see these guys work. We've been competing every day in practice, and a lot of hungry guys that want minutes. So it's been exciting at practice.
Yeah, I mean the work getting up to the first game is difficult, right? You went through it, like you just work and work and work, and then finally Friday night gets here, and you're like, all right, I finally get a chance to put all this to work. Put it all to go out there and show what all this hard work's for. So, just thinking about your team a little bit this year, Coach. I'm not really broke down the schedule, but I mean, you got Danville, you got Boyle. Um, who else do you got? I mean, I mean, it's Wayne County's going to be your district's going to be tough itself.
Franklin County.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys are definitely
It's
going
a
to.
little bit of a gauntlet, yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, same schedule we played last year, So
So
that's what I tell them. And to be honest with you, I'm born and raised here. It ain't real different from what it's always been, or at least in my time here. That's the way we approach it. We especially with the team I got now, it's focus on us.
yeah.
So we've been worried about us getting better every single day, and then here these last week or so, we could really turn the page to North Bullitt. But with this year's team, and like I said, so many new faces. I mean, it's been about who gets better and who's winning spots for us more than it is focusing on other teams right now.
Yeah, Coach, I just thought of this question, so I didn't kind of prep you for it. But a lot of people talk about schedules. They talk about some teams play very light schedules, some teams play very heavy schedules. As a coach, and knowing the team you got this year, I mean, you all have a chance to be solid. But if you're just thinking about it, like me personally, just being unbiased here, you all are not going to be as good as you were last year. Is my first thought. So when you're scheduling, would you rather have a light schedule with a team or a heavier schedule with a team? What's your preference on that?
I think you schedule good opponents. I mean, that's my thing. Because if to me, I mean, if we're just beating bad teams, I mean, it's hard to tell if you're really a good team or not, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But if you're going against good teams and you're in one score games and those kinds of things, I think it's more beneficial than just going out there and beating teams that you're supposed to beat, pretty handily and those kinds of things. But here's one thing I'll say about it too, from a coach's standpoint, is you don't really get to control a lot of it. I mean,
No.
we schedule our own schedules, but I've been at Lincoln County. This will be my third year, and then I was an assistant. Two different head coaches, Coach Lefew and Coach Crutchfield, both at Lincoln, and it's not easy to schedule. I mean, we've not had the most success as a program, but still being a little bit bigger of a school, it's hard. You can't to just go say, "Hey, I'm gonna go find a win." Like they say, no, you don't get to schedule those guys. So it is a little more difficult. You don't really get to choose. So to me, it's just let's line up and play.
Yeah.
Whoever's there, let's line up and go.
That that's the only way to be, Coach. And I will tell you a funny story real quick. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I saw you at the eighth grade game. We were down there,
Hmm.
and listen, I've known you my whole life, and I know your dad real well. So I've always been pretty honest with you. I walked up to you and I said, "Man, I was like, y'all gonna struggle this year." And you looked at me, and I mean, you just looked at me like, "I can't believe you said that." And you said, "What'd
Yeah.
you say?" You said, "We'll see."
Yeah.
We'll see, and that's the great. But I mean, that's what coaches need to be, right? That's what. And I was telling someone that story, and they looked at me like I was stupid. like, what'd you expect him to say?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I had some people ask me about that. I think some people heard you ask me that.
yeah,
I had some people ask me about it, but it's right,
yeah,
and like I said, we got new guys and it is, but I'll be honest with you, I'm confident in my guys too. I mean, there's going to be some young ones out there, but they've been developing really well. I've mentioned it before. We got them after Christmas as eighth graders, so they actually got a good 4 or 5 months of the weight room in there. And some of them some older guys too. So we expect them to play right away, and I expect them to do a good job. Of course, there's going to be some mistakes in there, but I definitely think we got the pieces to come out and compete with really anybody on our schedule.
yeah. Well, so I got to watch. I think the first quarter of your scrimmage with Madison Southern. Obviously, Tucker Foster, senior quarterback, can do it all, tough as nails. I mean, you talked a little bit about that too. And fourth down, I need a play. I mean, he's that guy. And another kid, they threw I don't know, it's like a 60 or 70 yard bomb was maybe to Parker Hart. I don't. Did he play last year?
No, Parker
Okay.
hasn't played since eighth grade.
Okay. So, but that was, I mean, so let's talk about some players to watch. And I know you can't name everybody, and hopefully no one gets
Right.
upset here, but some guys that we're going to be
Oh,
talking
they
about.
always get upset. There's always somebody getting
Yeah.
upset. So.
So what are some guys that we're going to be talking about this year a little bit?
Offensive side of the ball for us to start out. I'll just kind of throw some starters at you. I mean, obviously we know Tucker. He's the heartbeat, the soul of the team in there. He's third year starting for me, and he's just gotten better every single year. I mean, like you mentioned, he's a stud in all three sports. So, I mean, you can sit here and talk about Tucker forever, but we got him. You mentioned Parker Hart. He's one we kind of went after. He plays baseball, plays golf, plays soccer, but he come out and threw a couple times in the summer, was running routes for Tucker, and I was like, we got to have this kid,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Heck
so it
yeah.
was anything to get him out there. That's kind of the approach I take, and so we glad to get Parker, but Levi Grubbs is another big one. He'll be playing some tight end, some inside receiver, as well as Trey Burkhart. So I know I say it every single year, but you may see us throw the ball a little bit. So.
Well, I mean, I know. Uh, no offense to anybody else, but I always joke you're the all-time leading passer at Lincoln County quarterback. So, or at least that's what I remember.
Yeah. It's changed a couple times since then, but
Yeah, I know.
at one
But
point in time, I
no,
guess.
I'm always Levi Rogers. That's I'm Team Levi.
I got you.
What about some? Do you have some young kids that are going to step up this year and maybe make a difference for you?
Yeah, on the offensive side, Malik Heel, I've mentioned him in a couple times. He's came in, ran the ball for us. He's one that developed, put a little bit of weight on, and he's got a bigger frame anyway for a young guy. So he's going to get some carries. Aiden Phillips is a guy that'll be a junior, but it'll be really his first time in the scene there, as well as another freshman that you may see in some different roles, Craven Murphy. He's a
Yeah,
kid that he's been playing some JV quarterback. He actually played quarterback the other night against Dunbar for us, but we move him all over the field. Smart player, good football player. So you could see him in the backfield as well. And then on the defensive side, shoo, it's all brand new in there.
yeah,
So EJ Dunnigan, Zayden Halcomb, another freshman. They'll both be on the inside. Brantley Middleton's a kid that didn't play last year. That'll be at DN, and Michael Wilshire. I expect our D line's going to have to step up and play really
yeah.
well early in the season for us. The linebackers behind them are some younger guys, but we really need our D line to step up. And those are those guys I named. So
All right, Coach. You start first game Friday night in the annual uh, PBK Bank WPBK FM Death Valley Bowl, and it's our tradition to always go there as well. The first game of the year, and Garrett's in the first game. You're in the second game against North Bullitt, and then I, like 100 people are getting put in the Hall of Fame that night too. So it's going to be a packed house. What Number one, you're undefeated in no pressure, I think, but undefeated in the Death Valley Bowl as a coach. So how I mean, are you looking forward to that? And let's talk about North Bullet a little bit. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah. Of course, we want to stay undefeated. I mean, I'm not really worried about my record in the Death Valley Bowl, but yeah, we don't want to lose it ever. So
Yeah.
we'll go with that on that one. But North Bullet looks like a good football team to me. The coach is, he got the job before last year, and you could tell it kind of took him a while to get the system instilled, but it looks like what he wants it to look like now. So I think you'll see a much improved North Bullet team from last year from what we've seen on film. They get after you up front. They got some quick guys on the D line that kind of create some havoc in there. So it'll take everything we got. Like I said, we got to come out and we got to execute. Mistake free football, and I'll feel pretty good about it if we can come out there with limited turnovers and limited mistakes. So.
So that's what I was going to ask you next was like, what does Lincoln County got to do to be successful Friday night? What if you had three things you're writing on the board? It's like, we got to do this, this, and this, and we will win the game.
Like I said, we got to limit the mistakes, just the major mistakes too, the stupid, uncostly mistakes, just having, new people out there in varsity football for the first time. So limit the mistakes, but then I would also say catch the football and then tackle, because I mentioned once again, there's some new faces out there on defense. And one thing that's hard to really practice in the summer with the practicing being more limited than it used to be is really full on tackling. So
Yeah.
we'll get to see that, for the first time, other than a scrimmage, I guess, on Friday. So.
All right. Well, Coach, well, I got you on here, and before we end, what does the future of LC football look like, Lincoln County football? And I know you're taking this program, you're trying to take it to the next level, or relive take it back to where it used to be. I mean, if there's people watching this, what do you want them to know about Lincoln County football, and what's your vision and goal moving forward?
That we're going up. That's my plan. Keep going up. Last year we got to year two. We kind of slid off year one. Year two, you come back with, the most wins that we've had in a while. And I know everybody keeps saying we got a young team, this and that coming into this year. But I think last year there's still some seniors in there and there's still some of that culture, hanging around. So I'm excited about it. And like I said, I mean, it's just go up. That's the biggest thing. Keep climbing, keep grinding every day, keep getting better.
Well, if you hear anything in the background, I'm currently watching Cops too. You know what I mean? That's you can't. I come and turn the TV on here in the studio, and we're watching Cops. So
Yeah, I thought about coming by and knocking on the door the other night in that studio. You ain't too far away from me, so
come hang out anytime. It's turned into a glorified hangout. It's what it actually is, pretty much.
yeah, yeah. I remember one of those from back in the day. There used to be somebody I knew that just had a shop where random people showed up all the time.
Yeah, that's where I got my nickname. That's where I got the coolness. But
That's right.
I'm gonna put you on the Kenny's hot seat and ask you one question.
Oh
And
no.
it's not too bad. It's not too bad. You're in a state championship game, one play from the 20-yard line. No, let's say 5-yard line. You got either Scott Rogers or Bobby King, and you gotta let one of them call the play. Who are you gonna let call the play?
Neither. We got timeout. We got timeout.
You got one timeout. So you're gonna call that play, right?
Right. Yeah. If I'm in the state championship on the 5-yard line and Bobby King, Scott Rogers shows up on the sideline, we got problems. I'll just go ahead and tell you. So
Yeah, one of them's getting thrown out. So
yeah,
anyway,
they're both getting thrown out.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate you, man. Looking forward to have you in studio here soon, and just good luck on the year, and go Patriots.